What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Sitting Courtside, episode 79. Now, obviously, let's just go ahead and address the elephant in the room here. I'm missing my co-host, my compatriot, my good friend, my good buddy, Dante T, who is no longer with Clutch Points anymore, unfortunately. So that means no more Sitting Courtside. If you guys are huge wrestling fans for WWE, he's not going to be a part of Stash Club anymore. Stash Club will go on with John, but unfortunately, Dante is no longer a part of that. Now, if you want to get into the logistics of things, I don't know any of it. So take your ass to one of those videos on either one of their pages and give it a listen, give it a watch. I'm sure that you will greatly appreciate the explanation that both men decide to give. If you want some closure, if you want to continue to follow each person's content, be my guest, just do that. I'm all about going to check out other pages for inspiration and content if you're into that kind of thing. So shout out to my boy Dante. I think we did a lot of great things on this page. We had a lot of fun here, that's for damn sure. Every Tuesday-ish or Wednesday-ish, whenever we're able to record and get things out by Friday at the very latest, it was a blast, and he will be missed. But like they say in show business, the show must go on. The NBA season's still rolling, and we're heading straight for the NBA postseason here very, very soon. We got just under 25 games left for most teams, and we're going to talk about some important topics for 3 different things today, including the Pistons, who for some reason Shaq does not like, and the Cavaliers, who won another set of 15 straight games, which is crazy. But we're going to start with in particular individual player in Zion Williamson, who should be considered a superstar, but honestly, I'm not really quite that sure if we can call him that. You guys bear with me. It's been a little while since I did a solo show, man. It feels a little weird, to be honest with you. I don't think I've done one on Sitting Courtside, but in the past I've done solo shows, and it's been a long time. But we're going to dive right into this Zion thing, where he's been balling out the last few games. In his last 10, he's averaging 25.2 points per game, 7.3 boards, 6 assists on 61.2% shooting. Now, obviously, Zion is great whenever he's healthy. Just check out this other stat too. He's scoring or assisting on 40.7 points per game in this 10-game span. Now, when healthy, Zion is obviously a superstar caliber player. Probably has the potential to be the potential face of the league. Like he should be. It shouldn't be Wemby. It shouldn't be Ant or SGA or any of these other guys. Zion was supposed to be the most hyped prospect since LeBron. And we forgot about him because Wembanyama came and Zion was hurt season after season. Now, the man is a 2-time All-Star. I give him his props. But not being available is probably one of the biggest detriments to your team that there could be. It doesn't make me happy to see one of the league's brightest, youngest stars out for longer periods of time. Because despite this 10-game span being awesome in the middle of March, and I can really appreciate the good hoops that we've seen from him, he joined Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic as the only 3 players in the NBA after the All-Star break to record multiple triple-doubles. Zion Williamson is an all-star caliber box office player. But if he's not healthy, if he's not available, it doesn't mean anything. Remember a couple years back when the Pelicans were the 1 seed? These guys were dominating teams. They were blowing teams out. Yeah. Then they fell basically to hell once he got hurt and fell all the way down to the 8th seed or whatever it was. They were irrelevant. When Zion plays in the middle of the season, the Pelicans could be a playoff contender. Despite trading away Brandon Ingram, they still look like they're good enough to compete for something. But if he's not available, if he's not healthy, none of that matters. I heard he even got his playing weight down to 264 pounds. That's 20 pounds less than what he's been coming into the season with beforehand. So that's amazing. But if it's not consistent, if you can't play back-to-backs, if you can't even play 10 games in a row, I just have my doubts about Zion. As a talent, hell no. This dude is, like I said, I keep repeating it too. He's amazing. But as an individual, just as a team player from a team standpoint, if you can't live up to the potential to play on the floor, all that potential doesn't mean a damn thing. However, for next season, this could be huge. This could be important because this is a good confidence booster, not just for him, but for the organization. You remember last offseason where he was involved in trade talks and maybe the Charlotte Hornets were thinking about trading for Zion Williamson and pairing him and LaMelo Ball together, or the Rockets or the Spurs and all these other teams that were automatically just tossed into the mix for Zion's services. No, now that kind of makes those trade talks dead if you're the Pelicans, if you're David Griffin, to say, you know what? I think we should hold on to this kid because there's still some hope in his talent. He's still showing us that he can average 25 plus points per game and be an effective paint presence, which is honestly an anomaly in today's NBA for a guy to take a bulk of his shots within the painted area. Because this is the three-point generation that basically Steph pioneered with Klay Thompson, with Damian Lillard, and the rest of the guys. So this is a nice breath of fresh air for guys that love the classic 2000s basketball. This is a guy that's going to dominate inside. He might be 6'6" or 6'7", whatever he is, but he knows how to dominate and play at a high level. So for next season, I believe that Zion Williamson could actually be an all-star again, could maybe make the Pelicans relevant again. Obviously, it depends on what they do, but they have DeJounte Murray coming back. Yves Messi is a surprise over there, so I'm looking forward to what the Pelicans actually have going on in their near future. This season, it's obviously a wash. There's no postseason hope. There's no play-in hope. None of that. But next season, I'm being optimistic for him. Zion could build off of this to become the leader and the face of the league that he probably should be. It's a community of players for the face of the league, for sure. But Zion should be one of the prominent faces in that conversation. Now, enough of the bad situation that is New Orleans. Let's jump on to Detroit, which was definitely a bad situation once upon a time, right? Remember last year? They won 14 games. They lost 28 straight, which tied an NBA record. They were terrible. But you know I got to read these thoughts out. But you know I got to read these stats off for you now, where at this time in mid-March, excuse me, I'm a little sick. At this time in mid-March, the team was 8 games over 500 right now, 37-29. But last year in mid-March, 2024, they were 10-53. Me and Dante literally made a bet to see if they'd win over 10 games or over 11 games or whatever it was. And if the loser had to wear a shirt with the Detroit Pistons on it. That's how bad they were. They even had the whole promo with Wingstop. For each win, Wingstop was giving you a free set of 5-piece like boneless wings or something, whatever it was. They only got to do that 14 times. So if you love Wingstop out there in Detroit, I feel sorry for you. But now this year, this team looks like they're a lock for the postseason. They're locked in at the 6th seed right now with the potential to move all the way up to the 4. Because the Indiana Pacers only have one less loss in them, along with the Bucks. The Pistons can be as high as a 4 seed. And if the Knicks fall from grace somehow, they can maybe even be the 3. I don't see that happening, but the Pistons could definitely make a nice little leap to the 4 spot if they take care of the rest of their business. Their next few games don't really look all that surprising as I move forward here. They're playing Washington again as of March 13th. I'm recording this March 12th, so tomorrow. Oklahoma City's probably a rough game for them. But New Orleans, Miami, Dallas, New Orleans again, San Antonio, these next few games have injured players, and Miami doesn't have the star power and have dropped a few games to some bad teams. It's looking like the Pistons could actually make a solid run to get to that extra seed. And most importantly, their last 2 games of the season, they're playing Milwaukee. That gives you some opportunity if you take care of business or if you go 500 in these next few games. You get to the end of the season. Your last 3 games, are against the Knicks and the Bucks twice to end it. You can control your own fate to some degree. The Bucks drop some games, maybe the Pistons could slide into the spot that they're trying to get into. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how this actually goes for them. What I really want to get to about this topic is the fact that Shaq went viral for all the wrong reasons last night whenever the Pistons were playing. I believe it was the Wizards. I'm forgetting. I watched the game. It's crazy. But Shaq pretty much was trashing the Pistons, saying that they were boring, saying that he doesn't watch them. And worst of all, said that shout out to Chauncey Billups for the job that he was doing with the Detroit Pistons. When that brother coaches the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, he deserves the praise because he did turn around the Blazers to some degree. I'm glad the organization gave him plenty of time to actually turn Portland around. But I'll get to that in another episode. What really needs to be discussed is the fact that Shaq is part of the reason why people hate NBA media coverage. People like Shaq who trash other teams who are actually on the up and coming, who actually made one hell of a 360 and honestly have an argument to be made as the best comeback story of the year. I honestly don't even think it's a conversation like this. This is for sure the Detroit Pistons, their turnaround, firing Monty Williams. And yes, they're in debt $65 million to him, and they're going to get him all that debt money. But hiring J.B. Bickerstaff, getting the good veterans in place, solid veterans in place to make sure that this young nucleus was on the right track. Sir Thompson, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, like these guys now have direction, and it's clear. So for Shaq to just bash these young guys, which by the way, Sixers fans, how you feel about Tobias Harris? But for Shaq to bash these young guys, like they're nothing, like they're not worth watching. that doesn't really put the game in a better place. That doesn't market the talent that's in a smaller market that should get the attention that it deserves. And that's my problem with, I think, a lot of NBA media faces these days. We can be as the NBA could not, let me not say we, I'm not making that NBA money, but the NBA could be as marketable as the NFL if we do a better job of marketing the smaller market stars and the smaller market teams, especially if they play well. Cade Cunningham might not be the most marketable guy, but I know I've definitely seen him in a few commercials here and there. He's probably next in line at Nike to have his own signature shoe if he keeps this up. The dude was an all-star this year, and the rest of the young talent that they have on the roster could also be very interesting. Shaq, what are we doing, brother? I don't think that's the best way to market the product in the league that's also trying to figure out their way to get to the postseason and trying to figure out their niche in the league. Like, it's just real fucked up if you ask me. But enough about Shaq. I want to talk about predicting what they're going to do in the postseason. So, like I said, at the 6th seed currently is where the Detroit Pistons fall at. Now, it's pretty obvious to me that, of course, they could drop a couple games potentially. That's not out of the realm of possibility. But I think it's more likely that they move up in the standings to take over the Bucks or take over the Pacers, or they just stay put, which is also a very, very good chance. But the next closest team at the 7th seed is the Atlanta Hawks. 5 games behind them, looking at these standings right now. I don't foresee them dropping into the play-in tournament now. I think our top 6 is pretty much locked in. Given everything, if everything goes according to the way that it should go. Playoffs start today. They play the New York Knicks, who don't have Jalen Brunson at the moment right now, but should be healthy come postseason time. It'll be a tough draw, but the Pistons actually have a good shot to beat them because they play tough, they play chippy, and they play fast. That's something that might work against the New York Knicks, who are probably more of a half-court offense, especially since they have the traditional post player in Karl-Anthony Towns, who could step out and hit shots from anywhere on the floor for sure. And obviously, Jalen Brunson running the show is always a good time. But the Pistons have a good shot. But unfortunately, I see them as a first round out. I think it'll look a lot like what happened with the Orlando Magic last year when they made it to the postseason for the first time in a while. This will be the Pistons' first playoff berth since 2019, I believe. When the Magic made it last year, the Magic took the Cavs to 7 games in the first round, which is impressive. Paolo Banchero was playing out of his mind, and the whole team was on fire. Like, they looked good on paper, they looked good on the floor, and they gave the Cleveland Cavaliers really just fits defensively because they're all tall, they're all lengthy. Pause. But they did their thing against the Cavs last year. I could see the Knicks struggling with this young Pistons team to the point where the three-point shooting of Cade Cunningham and the rest of the ball moving from the rest of the guys, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway playing well as well. It's going to be hard to stop the Pistons or just sweep them. It's not going to be a short series. I think it's going to be 6 or 7 games, but I don't think they make it out the first round. Maybe I'm giving too much credit to New York. Maybe I'm just a little too high on what's happening there, but I'm pretty confident Pistons make the postseason. Now, if they end up as a 4 or 5 seed, I might give them a little opportunity to beat the Pacers or beat the Bucks potentially, but if they get the Pacers, maybe. But I still think no matter who they match up with, it's a first round out for sure. And lastly, to wrap this thing up here, I want to talk the Cleveland Cavaliers, man. Winning another set of 15 straight games is ridiculous. And along the way to these 15 straight wins that they had again, they happened to stop in Charlotte. I got to talk to some of the players. I got to see what was going on. Kind of just check out the temperature of the team. And obviously, it's always high spirits. They actually played a tight game in Charlotte. So before y'all just decide to trash the Hornets, they actually only won by 1 point. Donovan Mitchell had a pretty rough game. He was hard on himself. But I talked to Donovan Mitchell just about the team chemistry and like what it means to go on another crazy win streak. At the time, I believe it was like 12 or 11 games, whatever they were at. But he did tell me something along the lines, or I'm paraphrasing, where like they just have the confidence of belief that they can win every game, which is obviously what most players should say. But when I asked him about their championship aspirations, if they're peaking at the right time in the middle of the season here, he feels like they are. This feels a little different from obviously a couple years back. They're a first round exit to the Celtics. Now, I'm forgetting. Not the Celtics, but they were first round out. I don't remember who they played. Sorry. But last year, they beat the Magic, and then they lose to the Celtics in the second round. So this year is a little different. Donovan Mitchell looks like he's a little more upbeat about what could come from this postseason run whenever they do make it. So I believe I saw a stat earlier too, where only two teams in NBA history that have had multiple 15 straight winning streaks going on have won the title. I think one of them was the Bucks. I'm forgetting the other one. I'm sorry. Without my compatriot here, it's a little hard to keep up with some of these stats. I had them in front of me. I don't feel like pulling it up right now. But the Cavs are rolling, and they have the third best championship odds, despite having the best record in the NBA right now, and despite being at the top of the East over the Boston Celtics, who are the favorites to win it. Behind them are the Oklahoma City Thunder, with the Cavs coming in at third. So things could get a little spooky for people who are hating against the Cavs or don't think that they're going to be capable whenever it comes down to this postseason. But that's all I got for you guys today, man. It's trying to get used to doing this by myself. This could potentially even be the last episode of Sitting Courtside. That's kind of TBD, or I could find another co-host, or I figure things out solo for a little while. But my parting shot for you guys today, man, is R.I.P. to Junior Bridgman, man, which meant a lot to the NBA community. It looks like really not the greatest of playing careers, but had a stellar business career where apparently he taught Shaq a lot of his business acumen, as well. So the NBA lost another legend, it seems like, and I mourn for his family. I mourn for his business partners and all of that, man. It's always unfortunate to lose anybody, but a family member of the NBA, which it seems like it's pretty. It's been heavy on everybody's heart that's related to the NBA or has played in it or knows of him. So RIP to his family, man. Prayers go out to you guys, and I hope everything is well. But until then, you guys make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms, IG, TikTok, Twitter, and obviously subscribe here on YouTube. The shorts aspect of things, I'm going to have to figure that stuff out. We're going to see how playing games works without a co-host, but maybe I'll get some more guys on here to, jump in and help me out from time to time. That's kind of what my tentative plan is, guys. I'm reacting to the Dante news kind of firsthand here too, so we'll figure things out as they go. Again, make sure you follow us on our platforms. If you're an audio-only listener, give us a 5-star rating, like if you just don't want to see my pretty face on here, like you just want to hear my beautiful voice. Even though I am a little sick, it'll be greatly appreciated. But until next time, guys, for episode 80, holla back.